Engines on this railway were working hard at nighttime. The passengers had to take home from Nafford or Victorstown. The engines are tired that they work so hard that night and need their good night's sleep. But Thomas and Percy had mail to deliver at Brandon to Nafford Harbor. Later, Donald stayed at the sheds while Toby was working at the quarry tonight. Percy was going to tell Donald the story that he made. Thomas was ignored by Percy's spooky stories. "Nonsense," said Thomas. "You're going to tell that spooky story that scares me, but I'm not going to fall for that." Percy was not going to tell the story to Thomas. "Well, I'm not going to tell that story to you, you puffball." Thomas didn't like that name. "Fine, if you can't stop telling these scary stories, maybe I can tell you." Percy and Donald want to hear Thomas' story. "Okay." It all started at a long time ago from 80-90 railways. There were 5 railway engines who worked on this soda for many years. One of them were named from 98-400-652, Peter, Dash, CTD, and SCDA. CTD is a tank engine, was painted light orange, and had the number 0% known. He was nice and helpful engine. He liked to shunt trucks, coaches, and goods trains. He worked hard to keep the railway useful. Later, the manager came to have a conversation with him. "CTD, I will keep with you at the shed tomorrow." "Why?" he said. "Because there's not enough engines here on my railway. So I'm going to do with you is said you'll be scrapped tomorrow." CTD was surprised to hear that. "But sir, I'm useful still. Can you just send me He sent me to England that has a railway. Sorry, but that's my choice. And plus, I don't care if I ship you to England or something. You will take your last passengers home, and then take the goods train," the manager said before walking away. CTD was upset because he will be scrapped. He worked so hard all his life, and now the manager is scrapping him. Scrapping him will make him the least. Then he got an idea, a deadly plan. The night before CTD was going to be scrapped, he had to take the goods train and the passengers, so he went off anyways. He went to the big station to get his coaches. The passengers was full of people. After he was coupled up to the coaches, the guard blew his whistle and went off to the first station. CTD went on silent, but he carried out his plan when he's almost at this first station. When CTD approached the station, he didn't stop. "CTD, why are you past the station?" But CTD wasn't answering. He concentrated on this plan. So suddenly, the driver fire was horrified to see the viaduct had collapsed when it was meant to be built. "CTD, don't do it!" But still, CTD won't listen. His laugh had came. His creepy smile had laughed opened so loud. The passengers were screaming and began to panic. But then realized CTD's safety valve was open and came with a loud scream. But then it happened. All the passengers on board was killed. CTD and his crew were also killed, but he was no found again. One day later, the viaduct was finished. All the engines felt sad for their friend CTD. He was no longer anymore. The sign says, "We're gonna miss you, old friend." After the day of the accident, CTD runs again and warning to others, plunging into the gap, shrieking like a lost soul. "Ha!" said Percy crossly. "You think I believe CTD? Well, one time I ran into a lime and I scared you and Toby." Thomas ignoring at Percy. "Oh, stop," said Thomas crossly. "Even though I scared you with the dragon." So the two engines arguing each other. One night, the engine had a job to do. Thomas is delivering the mail to Brendan Docks. Percy is delivering the mail too. James, Doug, Gordon, Henry, and Edward were working on the mainland tonight. As Percy finished delivering the mail, he was going to change the branch line codes on the seaside. Thomas whispered to Percy, "Watch out for CTD tonight," Thomas said. "Oh, stop that nonsense, Thomas," neutered Percy. "I'm not scared of CTD." As he puffed away, Percy's puffing a long line. He's still thinking about that story of CTD, but he didn't want that to know anymore. When he arrived at Tidmouth Heath, the station master spoke to Percy's driver. The signal has been jammed, so we had to repair it now." Percy's driver went to the jam points. Percy waited and waited until he knows he can hear something under the line. "Hello? Thomas, is that you? Is that you puffing like that?" There was no sign of Thomas. Percy was confused. Then he heard engines screaming hard as the engine puffing fast as hard with the number 0% on his side chain. Percy wailed out as he closed his eyes, expecting the crash. But then realized the silence had failed. Percy opened his eyes, but no one was there. What is that?" said one of the passengers. I'm not sure. I think Thomas was right. There could be CTD out there." After the points had fixed, Percy set off at Tidmouth Station. The next day, Percy will never told the engines what he saw last night. Percy knew Thomas was right. If their CTD was still out there, he could be anywhere. When Thomas passed with Annie and Clarabelle, he whispered to Percy in a quiet voice. "I tried to warn you," said Thomas.